Hey guys, what is going on? Welcome back to Empty Paradise. So today's video, we're going to be doing the fuel injectors in a 2010 Toyota Corolla. This is for these years right here, and it's actually a pretty simple job, so let's go ahead and get to it. There's a few things you do have to do before you get started. One of them is actually opening up the fuel cap. All right, so what you're going to do is open this up, and that'll actually release some of the pressure because it is a pressurized system. So I'm just going to go ahead and set that right there. And now we can go ahead and go back into the engine bay, and we're going to go ahead and disconnect the battery. We can go ahead and take off the negative side and just set it off to the side. All right, so what we're going to go ahead and do and start off is remove these two wires right up here. It uses a 10 millimeter, so we're going to go ahead, hook right up onto that, and unscrew these. All right, and let's go ahead and pop off the other one. All right, so now we have those off. We can go ahead and kind of move them out of the way a little bit. You do notice that this is kind of breaking off. If you guys do have the time, you can probably take some electrical tape, wrap around these. I will probably go back and do that later on at some point, but for now, I'm just gonna go ahead and leave them as they are. There's two connection points. There's gonna be one right here and one right here. This actually, well, this one's actually broken off. So in my case, that's super easy, and on this side, I have a zip tie because the little connection is also not there. So there will be like a little plug with a little tab. You just kind of move the tab and then it'll slide right off. This side, this is the base of the original clip, and there's some little tabs on the back. You can just pop this whole unit right out of there. So I'll probably pop this out. So the little tabs on either side, you just kind of push in from the back, and this will just pop out just like that. And then I'll just probably zip tie mine back on since this little clip is broken. There we go. So once you have both of those off, you'll be able to see that this is kind of what the underside looks like on each. So now we'll go ahead and unplug each one of these connections. There's gonna be 4 of them for the 4 injectors. So there's a little tab on the left side. We're gonna push in that tab and wiggle this straight up and off of each injector. It's actually super easy. All right, now we can go ahead and just move this entire thing out of the way a little bit. I'm going to move it kind of more straight out. I don't want to bend it too much because I don't want more of this like plastic covering to like break off or anything. So I'm just going to set it over here out of the way. I'm actually going to cut filming, vacuum out all this, kind of clean all this up, and then I'll pick back up with you guys in just a second. All right, so now what we're going to do is go ahead and unbolt the fuel rail, which the fuel injectors are attached to on the underside. So there's going to be a 12 millimeter bolt right here and another one right here. And I would say get some rags, microfibers, anything that's liquid absorbent. And I would say kind of stuff it right up in here, but you don't want to block the fuel line that's coming out here to the right too much, because we're going to have to lift this whole thing up. And once you start pulling these out, it's going to start probably dumping fuel. So it's not going to be like crazy, but at least there's going to be a lot of fuel running down here. So I would say at least get a whole bunch of stuff in place so you're not dripping gasoline all over your engine or down through onto your floor. All right, so now let's go ahead and take off those 2 bolts. All right, so now we're going to go ahead and lift this up, and it will pull all 4 of the fuel injectors out of their little seated spots. All right, so I did notice that this little bracket piece is actually in the way, so I'm gonna go ahead and pop that off. So I'm just gonna carefully set these back down, remove this, and then I'll go ahead and pull that back up and out. And this is just a regular 10 millimeter. All right, so it should give us a little bit more clearance. Oh yeah, that definitely gives us a lot more clearance here. All right, so let's go ahead and pop out. Let me take the rag here. I don't wanna get fuel everywhere. So I'm just going to stuff it right down on top of those holes. And we're just going to go ahead and pop out the first one. It just wobbles right out of place. There we go. Dripping gasoline everywhere. Let's go ahead and grab the next one and pop that out. There we go. Man, these things are dirty. Look at that. Oh my gosh. Like that whole area down inside is just disgusting. Got the third one that was off a lot easier. Now let's work our way down into this last one down here. There we go. Alrighty. Man, these look terrible. So that definitely explains why the car has been running pretty rough. All right, so if you notice that this one right here is missing the like little washer that these ones have on it, it is actually still sitting down into the hole. So I'm gonna go ahead and pop that out because the new ones also come with the new little washer, whereas this one, it's like I said, it's still sitting down in there. So I'm gonna go ahead and essentially chunk these and clean up the area, and then go ahead and get the new ones put in. All right, so I did see that it is in this first cylinder right here. So I'm gonna go ahead and get in there some needle nose, pull that little rubber gasket out of there, and there we go. Man, the gunk on that is ridiculous, but so I'm gonna toss this and then we can go ahead and hook up the new injectors. All right, so we have the box right here with the new fuel injectors. These things are so much nicer than those old nasty ones. But this is the box right there. If you guys do want to pick up some of these, there's going to be a link in the description down below. Go pick it up. You can get them on Amazon, have them at your house like a day or two, depending on where you live compared to the location of the warehouse. But like I said, Amazon, link in the description down below. And obviously this is all 4 of them. And these things look beautiful. So let's go ahead and install these. All right, so before we actually put these back in the fuel rail, we're gonna take a little bit of lubricant. We have this right here, which is actually a really awesome synthetic oil. So we're gonna go ahead and put some of this down onto each one of those. I am going to rub it around with my fingers to kind of make sure it's evenly coated before we pop these back into the fuel rail. So I'm going to go ahead and do that with all 4 of these, and then we'll go ahead and pop them in place. We're going to go ahead and start with, I'm actually going to start with this first corner here. All right, so I went ahead and got the first one in here, and they are pretty snug, so make sure you're careful with that, trying to get these into place here. And then I'm going to go ahead and move this rag now, since it is covered in gas. Let's go ahead and just set this out of the way. All right, now we're going to go ahead and hook up all the other injectors. There we go. So the trick is just give it a little wiggle when you're pushing it in. And we got the last one over here. All right, so now that we have all 4 back in place, we're gonna go ahead and carefully align these back up with the holes. And we're going to stick them back where they belong. And they do kind of wobble around a little bit, so you can kind of guide each one in as you start to put them down into place. All right, so now they are back into place. Now we can go ahead and take the 12mm bolts that we did pull out, those big long ones. And we're going to take those, go ahead and put them right back into the holes and tighten those back down into place. All right, and there we go. Now the fuel rail is nice and tight in place, and each one of these is looking real good. So now let me go ahead and actually hook on the little bracket piece before I get everything else back into place. All right, so now we're gonna go ahead and take all the wires and we're gonna hook them up kind of in order here. And make sure when you push down, you do listen for that click. There we go. And let me go ahead and hook up these 2 wires up top using the 10mm bolts that we took off first. All right, so now we have those back on. Because my car is missing like the clips and everything for these, I am just gonna go back to using zip ties. So I'm gonna go ahead and just hook this through here. And like I said, at some point I will go back through with electrical tape. I'm gonna wrap up, clean up all this just to kind of protect the wires because all that heat shielding is coming off. And then don't forget the other side. All right, so now I got these secured, like it works. So now we can go ahead and put the engine cover back on and we are good to go. Don't forget to hook the battery back up, and then once you do that, make sure you close your fuel door. All right, if this video did help you guys out, make sure you go down and hit that like button. Like I said before, if you do want to pick up the fuel injectors or a bunch of other parts for a Toyota Corolla, especially with the, I think, 2009 to 2013 year frame, definitely go check it out. There's going to be a whole bunch of links down in the description down below. And I have a bunch of other videos on this channel. And this video is also going to be in a playlist of a whole bunch of how-tos for this car. I have a lot more coming, a lot of mechanical stuff kind of like on and around the engine, and I'm also going to be doing some other videos like maybe like replacing the headlights very soon, the bulbs, the housing, obviously I'm going to take off the front bumper, a bunch of videos to come with this car, a bunch of other parts, so make sure you hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on all those when they go live. But if you guys did like the video, like I said, hit the like button, subscribe if you haven't already, but as always, thank you for watching.